The blade dealer, make a nigga forfeit, cause I'm the realest. Hey, niggas talking short shit, I need a million.
Big stepper, yeah, bitch I be stepping. Coolin' kit with the flip switch, bitch that's the weapon. No drama.
Welcome to New York Giants Full Access.
This legend bring them sounds at one time.
I'm hard, and we got you. And that's it, man. Go purchase Big Pat Sports Talk merch and support the family, man. And welcome to Big Pat Sports Talk. Thank you for your support. What's going on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all platforms? Welcome to another episode of New York Giants Full Access with your boy Big Pat Sports Talk. And today we're going to be talking about Mr. Brian Daboll. I believe 100% will be calling the plays this year. As you've seen through training camp, the first week of training camp, the first 4 days, you can see that Brian Daboll has his influence over all the play calling that's going on during training camp. And the thing that excites me about that is Brian Daboll is going to find creative ways on how to get the ball deep down the field, get the ball in Wan'Dale Robinson's hands quickly, and get Malik Neighbors open, which in turn will allow people like Hyatt and Slayton to get their stats on the back end once everything opens up. I'm excited to see that. Shout out to G Nation Inside Sports, Big Blue Lou, saying that we can be the greatest show on turf, Big Blue Edition, and I do believe we can be that if Brian Daboll is calling the plays. So let's go through some of the positives. We're going to go through some of the positives and maybe some of the negatives of Brian Daboll calling the plays. First and foremost, one positive is the creativity that he's going to have to get Malik Neighbors open in the middle of the field and get him on one-on-one against DBs in the league this year. I believe he's going to come with a lot of creative ways on how to do that because of what I've seen during this training camp. I believe the honus and the focus will be on Malik Neighbors. As you guys know, Stephon Diggs, when he first got to the Bills, I believe he had something like 142 targets or 162 targets. I do believe Neighbors is going to get his targets. I believe he will be over 120 to 130 targets at least. And he's going to get his best player the ball, which offensive play callers should be doing that. So you're going to see Malik Neighbors in motion. You're going to see Malik Neighbors in the slot. You're going to see Malik Neighbors on the outside getting slant routes and getting one-on-one go routes. You're going to see that with Malik Neighbors this year. He's probably going to give him the ball in quick screens. He's going to try to manipulate the defense by putting him in motion and letting him be able to burst off the line with nobody touching him, to where he could get in the middle of the field and make some plays and get catches and get yards after the catch. You're going to see that. And I believe you're going to see that a lot. And that's going to help out Malik Neighbors in his rookie year when he's figuring things out. They're going to get him the ball very early and test the defense. And Malik Neighbors is going to have an awesome rookie season, man. I can see it. I could definitely see it because he's been wanting the number one receiver in order to do this with. because he wants to test the defense deep. He wants to test the defense deep over the middle of the field and see if you're in zone or see if you're in man. And he has ways to counteract both. And if you don't have a DB that's on his game and that's ready to take on the assignment of Malik Neighbors and handle it well, Malik Neighbors is going to have a big day. I know that for a fact. So that's one positive. The second positive, he's going to use Wan'Dale Robinson in the correct way. He's going to use Wan'Dale Robinson in the correct way. He's going to get Wan'Dale Robinson in space because of the space that he's going to create with Hyatt and Slayton by running deep routes and the space created by Malik Neighbors, putting him in motion. And if you try to bracket him, that's going to leave Wan'Dale Robinson one-on-one. And if he can win those battles, he can have a big game. See, Wan'Dale Robinson is one of those receivers that you have to get the ball in his hands and let him dictate to the defense what he wants to do. There's another guy that's going to get a bunch of yak. So I am excited to see what he's going to do with Wan'Dale Robinson this year. And we're going to use Wan'Dale Robinson in jet sweeps. You're going to use Wan'Dale Robinson out the backfield like a running back. You're going to use Wan'Dale Robinson in quick screens and quick slants over the middle of the field. Option routes, dig routes. You're going to use Wan'Dale Robinson in a multitude of ways. The way that he could be effective and show that explosiveness. And then number 3 is he's going to let the ball fly this year. You can see it now in training camp, man. He's going to let the ball fly, and he's going to test the defense this year. It's no more the defense could just choke up on us and play downhill against us. No, you're going to have to respect the speed of this team this year. All out honesty. And I'm glad that he's doing that because that makes teams back off and it opens up more things for the offense. It opens up more things for the RPO and the play action. It opens up more things for deep digs across the field with the speed that we have. If you're in man coverage, good luck. It's going to open up mesh concepts. It's going to open up rub routes. It's going to open up quick screens because you have to back off. And those quick screens to get us a quick 8 to 10 yards because you're backed off because you're scared of our speed. See, Brian Daboll is going to use the speed of this offense the way that it's supposed to be used, which I totally agree with. So, yes, I am total agreement with Brian Daboll saying, hey, look, Mike Kafka, I'm going to call the plays. And I 100% agree with that. Now, let's go over a couple of negatives. First and foremost, the relationship between Mike Kafka and Brian Daboll can sour if Mike Kafka has a problem with him having his play calling duty stripped from him based on just because Brian Daboll wants to call the plays. So it's like, I'm the offensive coordinator. What you have me here for? Am I just one of the assistants that, tells a little play here or there to go with the game plan through the week? That could be a shot to a man's ego. That could be a shot to Mike Kafka's ego because he worked hard to become an offensive coordinator. So, and I know he has aspirations of being a head coach. So those aspirations can be toned a little bit if everybody knows that you're not calling the plays, a la Eric Bieniemy. So with Brian Daboll taking over the play calling, it can sully the relationship between those guys a little bit more than what was reported earlier in the offseason. That's one negative. Another negative that I see with Brian Daboll calling the plays is I think we're barely going to run the ball. Now, as you guys know, I'm an old school Giants fan. I love the way we won our Super Bowls running back by committee, running the ball, base it off the play action, and getting the ball deep. He does those things, but he does not run the ball consistently. Like I've been saying on streams, I believe out of every 10 plays, he probably wants to pass it 7 or 8 times. Is that conducive to winning in the NFC East when you have good defenses all through the NFC East? Us, the Giants is the Cowboys is a top defense, the Eagles is a top defense, and Washington has the potential to be a very good defense. So us, I'm not saying being a one-trick pony, but most people know that we're going to pass the ball. So that's going to put a lot of pressure on this offensive line that has struggled for over a decade. So a struggling offensive line, and everybody knows that most of the time that we're going to pass the ball, a lot of people are going to pin their ears back to get after Daniel Jones. So if this offensive line can't hold up and that style of play calling is happening, that's a recipe for disaster. If you're a bullheaded head coach that won't change his ways as far as play calling. And we all know Brian Daboll is a very prideful man. Brian Daboll has a lot of ego. And Brian Daboll is bullheaded at times and a hothead at times. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the facts are the facts. So if we get into a point to where our passing game is not going to work because our offensive line can't hold up, is Brian Daboll willing to turn this team into a running team again like he did in 2022? We'll see. But that could be a negative, the running game. Another negative, Brian Daboll, you're the head coach. You got time clock management to worry about. You got to worry about the defense when you see things on the defense. You got to worry about the offense when you see things on the offense. You got to worry about special teams when you see things on special teams. You got to come up with game plans for the team throughout the week. And when you're so focused on getting the whole offensive game plan made out, where's the time that you're putting towards your special teams and your defense? Now, I'm not saying that he can't do it, but it's going to be very long hours. There's certain things that a head coach can see on the field when he doesn't have to pay attention on holding a clipboard or holding a play sheet and looking through the play sheet to get the next play through. There's certain things that he won't see. There's certain things like if Hyatt is not doing something correctly. If he sees a little hitch or something in the offensive line and they're giving him an indicator on the plays, he won't be able to see that. He won't be able to work the referees like he should be working the referees, because he's busy calling plays. That time that he can take out to talk to defensive players on the sideline, that time that he can take out to talk to offensive players on the sideline when they come to the sideline and give them little nooks and crannies on how to beat something that he sees on throughout the whole game. Now, that can be affected. I'm not saying that Brian Daboll can't do it, but that can be affected. So now you're putting more pressure on your coordinators. You're putting more pressure on your assistants. Now, does Brian Daboll have the capability to do that? We're going to see this year. So that's a negative right there. That's 3 negatives right there of him playing the calls, because our time clock management has been woeful. And since Brian Daboll is the head coach, hey, you got to put that on Brian Daboll. See, there's a lot of negatives and positives of Brian Daboll calling the plays, but I believe the positives outweigh the negatives completely. So these are some of the things that I think about when I hear reports about the New York Giants. I logically look at it and try to find solutions to the negatives that can happen with a certain situation happening, and try to look at the positives in different ways and the different lights of it. Because Brian Daboll calling the plays, it can affect the relationship with Kafka. It can affect his ability to be the supreme leader of all the men that are on that sideline, while he's paying attention to the play calls and everything that he's getting ready to set up for the next drive, that takes away from him working the refs. That takes away from him talking to his defensive players and to his defensive coordinator, see where their head's at. That takes away from the special teams aspect of the game, of him talking to the special teams. I want a certain play set up. He has to put that supreme trust in every position coach. So there's going to be a lot more pressure on Shane Bowen. There's going to be a lot more pressure on our O-line coach. There's going to be a lot more pressure on our D-line and linebackers coach. There's going to be a lot more pressure on the on Jerome Henderson. You know what I'm saying? So, like, his role as an overseer, there we go. His role as an overseer is going to take a little bit of a step back, because he has to focus on getting those plays in for the offense. Because you're not just going to each drive just saying, oh, I got to play. No, you're thinking about future drives. You're thinking about drives in the second half. You're thinking about plays in the second half. You're thinking about running these plays to set up this play that I want to set up. You got to think about plays that you're going to run on third and short, third and long. You got to think about plays on second down. If we get 5 yards, this amount of plays that we can run on these downs. You know what I'm saying? That's offensive coordinator. That's a hard job to do. And when you're trying to be the head coach and the offensive coordinator, that's putting double duty on yourself. And can he handle that? We will see. Because I need my head coach to be a head coach. I'm just going to be honest with you. I need you to be the leader of men. I need you to have that time clock right. Time of possession. You got to worry about that. Like, it's a lot that goes into a head coach that does both. Andy Reid just makes it look easy. But it's not easy. And Andy Reid has a Hall of Fame defensive coordinator behind him. He has Patrick Mahomes, who's an extension of him on the field. He has Kelsey, who's an extension of him on the field. So this is some of the things that I'm thinking about with the report that Brian Daboll more than likely will call plays the whole season for the New York Giants this year. There are positives and there are negatives. But I do believe the positives outweigh the negatives. But if those negatives show their ugly head throughout the season, it's going to cause friction. It's going to cause confusion. It's going to cause frustration. And it's going to cause losing. And that's a fact. So hopefully he has people in place that he can delegate overseeing jobs. Hopefully he has the energy to do both, which I believe he does. He's a good head coach. But this will be the first time him calling plays as a head coach for a full season. Because I know he's called plays here and there last season. So that's something to think about. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that big blue join button and join the Big Blue crew and talk your talk with Big Pat Sports Talk. And cop you some merch, man. Thank you guys. The guys that have copped merch in the past couple of days, thank you all. Give me a shout out on Twitter to let me know that you bought you some merch, and I'll give you a shout out right here on Big Pat Sports Talk. And you know, I can actually bring you on the show so you can talk your talk a little bit with the Big Blue crew right here on the Big Blue Crew Sports Network. But until the next episode of New York Giants Full Access, you know what it is, man. Peace.
Hitting the mic, spitting the facts, coming with full access. Big Pat hitting the house with giant tactics. Eli's handoff, rapping the classics. 90s beats, we blast this. in New York.
Big Blue.
Where G-men roam, Super Bowls in the vault, that's the Empire's home. Red, white, and blue, where the legends have grown. Giants full access, this the zone, got the tone.